everyone. Yes, it's me again. So this week we are actually looking at the topic of failure, and today I am basically looking at how to respond to failure. And there are several ways that we can compare in how people respond to failure. But just to help you understand, I think one of the people whose response to failure we see severally in the Bible is David. So when David has killed Uriah, he has taken Bathsheba, and the prophet comes to him. He tears his clothes down and he goes back to God and is like, no, I'm sorry. And God forgives him. So you see, he responded. Well, a lot of people have different ways of categorizing how he responded, but he did respond. We also have David, the time when he comes back and finds that his camp has been attacked and the children and the women have been taken captive. And the Bible tells us about him encouraging himself in the Lord and inquiring of the Lord if he can go and fight and bring back the children and their wives. And he does. So he raises up and he decides that it might look like I have failed. I actually feel like I have failed because I have taken my men to war, and we have come back and our own have been left and they are in trouble. But he does not just take it lying down and decide this is the end of it. But after inquiring of the Lord, he actually wages war and he gets his people back. So basically, we're looking at that, responding to failure. And there are different things that we will be comparing. And the first one I want us to compare is the blame game versus taking responsibility. We have people who every time something fails or goes wrong, their first response is looking for someone to blame. Either they didn't do, or they didn't say, or they didn't communicate, or it's always about someone else. But the opposite of the person who does the blaming is the person who takes responsibility, who says, okay, so what is my contribution to this? Yes, this did not work. Yes, there is failure in the camp, but I probably contributed to this failure by not doing, or by doing, or by not communicating. And so there is that, the person who responds with the blame game versus the one who takes responsibility. 2, we have the people who give excuses versus those that learn. Now, again, same case. You have found yourself in a situation and things have not gone as they would have gone, and first order of business is giving excuses. So we did not meet our deadline because there was no electricity. We did not meet our deadline because, and so there is always a reason. And so the opposite of the person who gives excuses is a person who says, yes, we did not meet the deadline because of electricity, but moving forward, now learning is I am actually thinking about getting a generator so that the next time, as opposed to having the same excuse of not having electricity, I have learned from it and I have done something about it. Number 3, we have the people who just move on and those that evaluate. So we have moving on versus evaluating. Many times it is easy in the process of trying to prove that we are strong and that what has failed us has not broken us, and we want to prove that point by just carrying on and moving on. And many times we fail to notice that moving on without taking time to evaluate and chart our way forward is actually going to put you into deeper trouble. So we have the people who actually just move on, the moving on swiftly kind of people, and then we have those who will actually take time to evaluate and say, this came about because of this can be sorted in one way or another. We can ask questions, finalize, maybe do a questionnaire, get feedback, and so we have that people who will move on and others who will take time to evaluate the situation. Number 4, we have the people of self-pity versus self-analysis. Personally, I find it hard to deal with people when they are going through a hard time and they are at a place of self-pity, because it is very, very difficult to encourage or even motivate or work with someone who is at a place of self-pity. Because the truth is, in as far and as much as, yes, the whatever has failed has cost you time, money, it has probably cost you relationships, whatever it is, it gets to a point where you get out of thinking woye, and you need to take action. Now, the opposite of self-pity is self-analysis, where you can get up. Yes, failure is hurtful. Yes, you are counting losses, but you cannot remain there every single day. You have to get up and dust yourself and keep moving. And that is a very important aspect when it comes to failure, because for some people, the problem is not the fact that they failed, it's the fact that they were unable to rise up again after they failed. Number 5, we have the failing backward versus the failing forward. So generally, failing backward versus failing forward is these other points that I have brought up before, because failing forward is actually going to involve self-analysis, being the person that evaluates yourself, a person that learns from their mistakes, a person that takes responsibility. That is failing forward. But now failing backward is now the opposite of that, which is being a person who is constantly blaming others. Failing backward is looking for excuses. Failing backward is moving on and not taking time to evaluate the way forward. Failing backward is remaining at a place of self-pity. So I would say failing forward or failing backward is actually determined by the response that you give at the point where you recognize that there is something that has gone wrong, or there is something that I have failed at. My encouragement to you, push yourself, fail forward. Failing forward in the end guarantees you success. Failing backward will leave you feeling worse. It will leave you in more pain, and that is not really what God wants you to do. God wants you to keep failing forward. So even if you fall and fall and fall, you still rise up and keep doing it, and may the Lord bless you as you fail forward.